We've already seen how to manipulate certain aspects of an image when we use the crop tool to reduce the size of the frame that this object sat in earlier. But now it's time to actually manipulate some of the things on these images inside of our document. And that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do in this movie. So let's scroll down here to this little gallery portion. And what I'm going to do is just show you how to manipulate these to either increase the size or rearrange them. So first things first, when you select an image here inside of Muse, you'll notice that you get a bounding box around the outside of it, and you can adjust the size of that bounding box just by clicking and dragging, something kind of like that. And so what I want to do is resize this and move it up a little bit, and what I'm going to do is just make sure that all of these fit within the given parameters of the guides that I have on screen. And so what I'm going to do is just move this over, and I'll increase the size this way, and we'll move this over, and increase the size as well. And that's exactly what I'm going to do for all of these. So I'll just do it really quickly, and you can follow along with me as I go. And so basically all you're doing here is just clicking and dragging. Muse is automatically going to constrain the proportions of these, so you don't have to worry about that. That's one of the great things about Muse. If you want to manipulate them and not constrain the proportions, throw in the Shift key while you're doing that, and that's going to make it a lot easier for you to manipulate these without constraining the proportions. So again, I'm just making sure that these all fit within these guidelines that we have on screen. And once I have that done, everything should line up properly. If you go outside the lines a little bit, that's okay. Just scoot it on back and it'll go just like that. Now, in addition to this, you can also manipulate these objects directly from something called the Transform panel. If you can't see that currently on your screen, you can go to the Window menu and choose Transform, and that will bring up the Transform panel on your screen. And as you can see over here, you can change the X and Y coordinates of these objects. You can also change the width and height of the objects, and you can also change the rotation angle of these. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to tilt these a little bit. I could rotate them around like that. And so I could just do this and reset it back to 0 if I need to. So any way you want to manipulate them, you can do that through the Transform panel or simply by clicking and dragging them around on screen. In addition to that, you can also add things to an image as well, like a border or a stroke, and you can also round the corners on an image frame as well. So for instance, let's say that I wanted all of these to have rounded corners. I'll select all of them by shift-clicking across all of the images, and then what I'm going to do is just round the corners on these graphics. And so each time I click there, it's going to just round the corners a little bit, and let's round it up, let's say to about 15, so that it's really easy for you to see. Then I'll click away from it, and you can kind of see now that they all have that sort of rounded edge, almost looks like an Instagram filter or something like that has been placed on these. And so if you want to undo that, of course, you can Command or Control Z it, or if you need to change it, you can select individual images and change that as well. So there you go. Those are the basics of manipulating images inside of Adobe Muse. So in addition to cropping, you can also resize, rotate, and add things like borders and effects and all that good stuff. And so now, hopefully you have a better understanding of how to manipulate images so that you can place them and do exactly what you want them to do in your layout.